The show you're about to listen to is pulled from our Nerd Radio, our National NerdNet Radio Direct, streamed every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Please enjoy. Hello, everybody. How's it going? Good? Oh, good. I was so worried. I thought it was going to be bad, honestly. I mean, jeez. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Nerd Radio, your National NerdNet Radio Direct. And welcome back to Weekly Nerdy News. I'm one of your hosts, Nick. Here with me today is... Fuck! Hi, everybody, for the first time. How's that going? Hey, everybody, welcome back to Nerd Radio, your National NerdNet Radio Direct. And welcome back to Weekly Nerdy News. I am one of your hosts, Nick. Here with me today is...
It's Nate, back in an actual, kind of permanent setting. Did we have to do this more than once? I don't know. You should have been too...
Hey, everybody. We're having a little technical difficulties, so we had to edit it a certain way, and basically had to cut it to where we got Nate's mic working a lot better during the live, Nerd Radio. Hey, that's what you're going to catch live if you go to Nerd Radio on Sundays. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central is technical difficulties. But we come back in and we're already talking about the Friends reunion. So that's why it might seem like it jumps.
Is that okay? Is that better?
Whoa, there you go. That's much better.
Okay, I just turned my mix board up all the way.
There you go. There you go. Let's do it.
Anyway, I don't think that all this reunion stuff would have happened unless Friends went to Netflix and got that newfound appreciation, I would say, because I don't know. I think the entire cast would have been cool not doing a reunion until it got popular again.
Yeah. Honestly. I mean, because then you think about the bidding war that had to happen for it to get to HBO Max or whatever. You know what I mean? Well, first there was the bidding war where they had to pay an extra, $100,000 to keep it on Netflix for an extra couple months, and then HBO Max took it over.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is, I feel like the only reason why it's happening is because the fans wanted it. So with the information we're getting, it's I think they're saying hey guys, I know you want this. We are working on it. We just, there's no concrete information. Whereas you have something like with the Fresh Prince reunion that's also coming to HBO Max, just dropping. And they may have talked about it, doing something for the 30-year anniversary, but the trailer dropped for that. And my wife and I watched that and we were like, okay, that's what we needed in 2020. That was so wholesome. That felt so good. That's something that we're going to watch. So, oh, wow. Chicken on the mix board.
No, well, first off, I was in studio mode, so it's dumb that it did that. No, anytime I click on another window other than fucking you, which, I mean, I need to look at it. So, right now, I'm in the docs, so I can look at the fucking,
Headlines
and stuff. It goes off of you. So I guess I'm just going to have to put you over here and trust that the stream is going okay. But I can't do that because, God, this is super fucking annoying. I never fucking have this problem. And now, what? Okay, here, we're going to try this. This is honestly just stupid. I don't understand why we're having this issue. Never had this. There we go. Okay. Then back to me. Okay, cool. Fucking shit, dude. So shickish, Jeff. I tell you that much right now.
Did you see the trailer for the
Fresh
Prince reunion?
No, I didn't.
It's good. Watch it. It almost made me tear up, especially when they brought up Uncle Phil.
Oh, yeah. Because he died, huh?
Yeah, and they were talking about his impact, and I was like, okay, I have to watch this.
For sure. Speaking of somber news, LeVar, God dang it, I did this before. Burton. LeVar Burton is the top choice to replace the late Alex Trebek. So first off, 2020, stop it! In all seriousness, just fucking stop. One person after another. I know people die on a regular fucking basis. That's not something new. But 2020 is just fuck. You know, especially like Alex Trebek. Like I feel like I don't know. That's another one where it just kind of came out of nowhere, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, he had cancer. It's like, fuck you, cancer.
Yeah, I think that Alex Trebek and Chadwick Boseman are two of 2020's worst casualties
Yeah.
because with Alex Trebek, we kind of knew it was coming because pancreatic cancer, you know, is fatal, you know, in almost every sense. But you know, he did say, you know, there is hope. So, you know, I think we were hanging on to that, and there was nothing else about it. And obviously, you know, Chadwick Boseman, we had no idea until he had already passed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like two people who are just symbols of hope and symbols of things to latch onto, of like, you know, nostalgia or even just like a sense of wholesomeness in some way. Like leaving, it's kind of like something I guess you could compare it to like Mr. Rogers. Like when
Yes.
Mr.
Yeah.
Rogers passed, it was like this beacon of hope and of sanity and of like, you know, something to look forward to is now gone.
Yeah.
The VAR replace in top picks to replace him is very interesting. I think it's a great choice because he's a very good guy, and I think that if you're wanting that kind of, I think he does personify a lot of what Jeopardy stands for, and you know, kind of what they're looking for in terms of, you know, just a good person who, but at the same time, I kind of figured that they would, and no offense to LeVar Burton, that they would go with someone a little younger to kind of have on to. And I'm not saying that he's old by any means, but
Oh yeah, he
whenever
is.
Price is, well, yeah, but that's what I was gonna say. Whenever Price is Right replaced Bob Barker with Drew Carey, like at that time, Drew Carey was much younger. I mean, he was like maybe 40s or 50s.
Oh, okay.
Um, so
Yeah.
like for if they're wanting Jeopardy to last a lot longer, you know, I figured they would have picked someone newer who can have that same legacy Trebek did.
Yeah. I mean,
So it's interesting.
that's a good point. I do think LeVar Burton is, you know, definitely a good choice. I mean, if you look at his work with like the Reading Rainbow and everything, yeah, he's a very soft tone, and yeah, so I think it'll work out just
Reading
fine. Okay.
Rainbow.
Speaking of Vin Diesel, Bloodshot 2 is being worked on. They're gonna call it Bloodshot 2, Bloodshottier.
Or shootier if you're Nick and the
Shootier.
second one. Yeah.
Um uh Now you didn't see the first one, right?
No,
All right.
I'm pretty
So
sure that it's.
I'll go ahead and talk about it then. I watched the first one. It was just good dumb popcorn fun. You know, it if you took it too serious and you ended up hating it, I really feel like it's your fault because it's like, how could you watch the commercials for it? How can you how can you take any Vin Diesel movie serious? Is my point, because after 72 Fast and Furiouses, like you can't take him serious anymore. Instead, you just need to enjoy the ride, right? And so for me,
Yeah.
it's like Bloodshot 2. It's like, great. All right, cool. Let's see it again, because the first one was good. It was a bit cliche, but also I did like how they kind of played with the cliche a little
Uh,
bit, and it was like, all right, cool. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
it's one I want to see.
Yeah.
And when I'm sure it's going to be free at some point, I'll just pick it up and view them that way. But yeah, I agree with you. Just from the trailers and everything I saw, I was like, this looks like a dumb popcorn flick, but
Yeah.
it's what I'm probably going to enjoy because I like terrible movies. So
For sure. Yeah. So I mean, hey, look forward to that. Speaking of looking forward to, A Quiet Place 3 is already being confirmed. Like, this one actually is really weird because it's like, A Quiet Place 2 isn't out, guys. I mean, I'm glad you're confident that it's a good enough movie so that 3 can be confirmed already, but at least like for instance, when Walking Dead got renewed for seasons like 2, 3 and 4 when the first season got released or whatever, it's like, "Oh yeah, it's a fucking good show." So, it made sense. Whereas this, it's like, I mean, nobody's really seen it. There hasn't been
yeah,
a reception other than maybe a critical one. I mean, I don't even know. You know what I mean? So this one's just kind of like, oh, okay, cool.
this is cool. Kind of. I agree with you. It's like it is weird because we haven't seen the second one, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, okay, and I agree. I know it's going to be good. Like I don't have any
Right.
contention that it's not going to be. So I think all this news is really saying that is like the studio supports John Krasinski's like project and his vision enough to greenlight a third film.
Mm-hmm.
But my hope from this is that they're really going to expand out the universe if that's the case,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it seems like they were going to with the sequel. Obviously, we don't know because we haven't seen it yet. But if they can answer the question kind of what these things came to be or like what happened, like I would be interested in that because they that's the thing I was looking forward to the second the most is the world building because the first movie, while great, it was very like simple, I guess you could put it. It's like, hey, there's
Yeah.
these creatures. We didn't really expand on it, but letting them do that more is something I'm looking forward to seeing. Do we know when the second one is going to release?
No, that's one of those that is kind of caught in release limbo, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And we were talking about this, I believe, just last week, actually, about how why don't some, maybe not all, but why don't some just take a chance and put it onto Amazon, put it onto, you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
it
right.
seems weird, you
That
know.
film could do very well, I think, just doing a VOD release.
Yeah, I definitely
Definitely.
think so. So yeah, Quiet Place 3, everybody, put it on your calendars for. I don't
Put
fucking
that
know.
in your typing program.
So then we're gonna head over to the video game news with Nate.
It's me. Nothing really works with that. So of course, as you guys can expect, we're gonna have a lot of next gen conversations going on because hey, next gen is finally here. Do Nick and I have next gen? No, we don't, because we're broke as shit. And so also they're out of fucking stock. So hopefully by 2021, all these get it. But the first thing we're gonna talk about is PlayStation is now giving you access for remote play for the PS5. So when this first came out, I was a little interested because I'm like, what does that mean? But what they're looking at basically is, which I think is kind of cool. If you have a PS5 in the house but don't want to worry about relocating it to a different room, which is something that I would have an issue with in that setting,
Mm-hmm.
you can just on your base PlayStation open up the app and you'll be able to play and stream, your PS5 games. Now, of course, it's not going to have the same amount of like fidelity and quality as far as the enhancements on the PS5, but you're still going to be able to play those games. Now, also an issue with the DualSense. For some reason, as of right now, the DualSense doesn't seem to be compatible with PS4. I, I'm not sure
Okay.
why. So, you would be using your DualShock. So it's kind of one of those, yes, you can play PS5 games on here, but you're not going to get the full experience like you would on your, normal PlayStation 5 you have in your living room.
Yeah.
But it's cool that they're giving you this functionality, and I think that's something that they've really excelled at. Like even when the PS4 launched with the Vita Remote Play, but it's something that's cool. Speaking of PS5, more news and something that might not be as cool. Apparently, PlayStation games were considered to be a little bit higher than $70 from what it was reported. So this comes from GameSpot. Um, Basically, with next gen, the conversation of hey, $70 is probably going to be the new normal, which makes sense because there's a lot more work and effort being put into these games. And Nick, let me know if I'm wrong on this. Would
You
you
are.
be okay paying $70 for?
Ugh. That's a hard one because the issue with $70 isn't necessarily the price tag itself. It's
Mhm.
that there are so few games nowadays that don't have DLC. And so to say that, oh, please, sir, can I have some more? I need more money. But you're also putting out battle passes and skins. Like Spider-Man is a good example.
Mhm.
Skins, and you're putting out DLC, and you have all this additive stuff where you're already having premium editions, gold editions, ultimate editions, and you're still telling me you need more money. For me, no, I'm sorry. You can have that tried and true argument that, hey, the prices of games haven't gone up in a really long time, but the cost of making them has gone up. I'm sorry, that argument is void when you just consider how much nickel and diming the average studio does. Does every studio do it? No, obviously not. But the average studio nickel and diming everybody, taking out something that maybe would have been side content and putting it as a DLC or something. It's just,
Okay.
for me, it's like $70. If it meant that I didn't have to deal with all the microtransaction bullshit, that it was a one-time payment, abso-fucking-lutely. But the problem is that that's not the future of gaming, unfortunately. So
Okay. So let me
that's my
pose it to
caveat.
you. Let me pose it to you like this,
Pose
because
it at me.
we've seen that there's been much less conversation as far as like loot boxes and all that shit we went through the past couple of years ago. So I don't think that downloadable content is, especially this next generation, go away. They're always going to sell something, whether it's skins or whether it's like add-on packs, which I think is normal. But would you, if they got rid of that loot box microtransaction bullshit as a whole across the majority of games, and really it was just, oh, okay, hey, here's this extra content or this extra story you can pay extra for because it's an actual like DLC pack, would you
Right.
prefer that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean,
What I
it's kind of what I already said before, so you're kind of
Yeah.
treading over. But no, 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 no. That's the problem
Yeah.
right there, is that you just don't know. Like a really good example,
I think they don't
Avengers.
either, honestly.
Avengers, there
Mm.
is, God, how fucking many skins can you get for Hulk, for Iron Man, for yada
Yeah.
yada yada,
Yeah, that
and
yeah.
yet you spent full money on this, you know.
Yeah.
And if I would have gotten it on the PlayStation 5, would it have costed $70? Like, because if that's the case, then why am I still giving you so much money?
Not
You
now because
know?
it's dying.
Now, do I agree with the. Shut the fuck up. Now, do I agree with the, like, cosmetics or whatever not being that predatory? Yeah, they're not that predatory. They're not that bad. I would still prefer to be able to unlock them in the game or whatever, but that is another avenue that a publisher can take. If you want this extra skin, you can get this extra skin. Hey, support the creators that you like, right? The
Mhm.
the, the big problem does come up when they add that on top of this, on top of that, and everything. So
Yeah. I don't know what that sound was, but let's keep moving on.
that was the
So
move on sound. From
that was the
now
move
on,
on. Okay,
everybody.
so now it's time for the review roundup. So this
Round
would
them
be
up, partners.
round them up. So this would be a little interesting because we're basically reviewing the same games just on the different consoles. So they
Yeah.
have very
Voila.
nicely spread that out for us. Let me know when you're
Mhm.
ready. Okay, there. Okay, you're still on the.
Mm.
Are you getting them all of them together too?
I gotta get them all. Gotta catch them all. All right, so let's start with Valhalla.
So Assassin's
PlayStation
Creed
4.
Valhalla. So starting off with the PlayStation 4 version, sitting at an 81 on Metacritic with a 6.7 user score.
Which, goddamn, people. Like.
For Assassin's Creed games, that's not bad. They're honestly, no. People have a right to be as pissy and as like critical about these games as for the past couple of years, just because of Odyssey and other stuff like that. So that's fine. I think that's actually a not bad of a number. But when you look to Xbox One, that's where it gets interesting. So it's an 82 on Metacritic
Yeah.
and a 7.9 user score.
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot to do with. I love you. Wife's leaving. I think that has a lot to do with. I feel like there are more Assassin's Creed fans on Xbox and PlayStation.
Well, see, and look at this right here. All right, we got Metascore out of 40 critics, 81. Metascore out of 12 critics, 82. So right there, they have a smaller pool to pull from. Not only that, look at the users.
Oh, I didn't even see
143
that. Wow.
for Xbox One and 807 for the PlayStation. So
So never
right there,
mind.
I
That
feel like our
means
numbers are already getting skewed because we don't have the same amount of critics and the same amount of. So
they are, yeah, because that means that they are getting it. Now, was that the PlayStation 5 and 4 version
let's
on
see. The
the
PlayStation 5 version actually doesn't have a fucking review, but it does have 82 people on the PlayStation 5 saying it's a 7.8. So right off the bat, if we're looking at Sony only, then we're god damn it. Then we're seeing that there is at least a little bit of a rise in the score there. So that's a little
yeah,
interesting. Now let's go over to the XBX. So
Series
79
X?
and 82. Let's see what happens if we go to the Series X. 85 and 84. So once again, that's weird. It actually has more critics reviewing the Series X version than the
Yeah.
regular fucking version.
So one of the things that we can tell right off the bat is that the majority of people picked this game up on PlayStation 4. So that kind
Yeah.
of disputes what I originally said. I didn't see the actual number of ratings, but
Mm-hmm.
I think one trend that we can for sure see throughout all these games is the Series X and the Series 5, or the fuck me, I've never done that. The Series X and the PS5
Mm-hmm.
are probably going to review higher because they're going to be the better versions of the games.
Right.
Which that's the problem with these cross generations is like the weird.
Because I mean, yeah, you
time
look
period.
at the PC and that's at 84, 20
Yeah, but there's
critics,
yeah
7.9, 493 ratings. So yeah,
530 7.9. So yeah, I guess it does run better on PC.
yeah. All right, let's get the
Let's
next
get
one.
the big boy out of the way.
Let's
So
get our
next we're
lubrication ready. Let's get these fuck boys. Woo! We
oof,
love
oof, oof,
Call of
oof.
Duty.
So we'll start off with the PlayStation 4 version, and it is sitting at an 82 on Metacritic, and out of 160 ratings, 4.0 user score on Metacritic. Wow. Uh,
I got 3.9.
I must have just refreshed, or let me refresh it and see if it went down. It did. Holy shit! It got 4 more reviews and went down. Okay.
So,
So here's the thing.
I do have to admit, this is one thing, and maybe this is something we can talk about on a little more on button mashing. But I do have to admit, I think the main reason for this is the exclusive stuff on the PlayStation.
No,
You get no, hold on. It's not just that you get Onslaught for a year. It's also that you're gonna have two bonus loadouts. Oh crap, I can't think of it. You're gonna get double XP events. You're gonna get I can't remember it off the top of my head. No, but there's tons of stuff that you're actually getting, and you can only get if you're on a PlayStation 4 or 5. So I feel like a lot of people are bagging it because of that.
well, see, that's why I
Bilbo
was going to
baggins
say.
it.
That's why I was going to say no, because if you scroll down, and I was about to say, I think user score for Metacritic on Call of Duty games is pointless because there are, like I just scrolled through and there's a couple ones right there. The negative reviews are valid for some people at this moment. You know, like some of them are map selection, issue with, matchmaking and stuff
Hold
like
on.
that. So
Absolute ass cancer.
yeah.
Why did they even make this game? First of all, let me say the previous NW 2019 is great game, especially the Warzone. They made a great BR game which got me come back to COD multiplayer after many years. This game looks like it's in 2000. Fuck off. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. So that's what I'm saying. I think that the user score for Call of Duty games on Metacritic are fucking pointless. I'm sure some of them are valid, but most of these guys, because it's a popular game, they're going to review bomb it. So that's something we're kind of seeing consistently throughout the different consoles as well. Like on the Xbox version, it only has 17 ratings, but it's sitting at a 3.6, and there's actually no Metacritic score for Xbox on there.
Oh, God, yeah. What the fuck?
And the same thing for PC as well. It's showing the first preview, the second review,
Hold
and
on,
then
let me see.
like
Is it Series X? Series X isn't even. Literally has 2 critics on Series X and none on Xbox. what the fuck are people doing? They have sites for this. They have IGN. They have GameSpot. They have dedicated Call of Duty. Like, how does this not have any fucking reviews yet?
I project, too, that these reviews will end up going higher because one of the things that just going through these pages I've seen are people talking about the map selection, which apparently, and we'll talk about it more on button mashing, but they don't have a great map selection at launch. They're going to add courses the seasons, but everyone's kind of complaining about that right now. So I'm not really surprised to see these, to be honest. Now, this is the one I'm going to be interested about, and luckily we don't have to jump through as many. These are the reviews for Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm going to take a look at the PS5 and the PS4 version. So, starting off with the PS4, out of 153 ratings, it's sitting at a 7.9, and it's a 84 on Metacritic out of 15 reviews. So, surprisingly so. Well, okay, so here's a couple things that are interesting. The Metacritic score is only a point higher out of 66 reviews on the PS5, but the Metacritic score, or I'm sorry, the user score has, for PS5, 330 ratings, and it's sitting at a 7.9 as well. So,
I mean, that's a good sign, I guess, but yeah, it is weird that I think a lot of people, this is at least from what I've seen, so this is very anecdotal, but I feel like a lot of people are getting hung up on the fact that it's not a full fucking game. Like,
I think so too.
I feel like it was very heavily advertised as a side fucking story. Get the hell over yourself. Like, I don't know. It really grinds my gears, pushes my buttons, if you will. when people go off on a tirade about like I think Legion was another example where like people were just like going off about like the character system, and it's like, well, like, I don't know if you're using it correctly or whatever. In this particular sense, it's like it's not supposed to be a full game. It was supposed to be a side story. You know, yeah, they wanted to make it look pretty for the PlayStation 5, but that's all it was supposed to be.
I think this is perfect. And the fact that it's an 8 to 10 hour campaign, great. They charged, what was it, like $50 or $60 for the PS5 version instead of 70? Like, they charged less, didn't they?
Yeah. I don't know how much less.
Okay, so like I don't know why people are complaining. Like, let this be good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that it's because of one thing, but you know, you never know in some cases. But yeah, of course, I'm not surprised to see. What, that racism? Yeah,
that racism that doesn't exist. Okay, jeez.
Yeah. Now, with Miles Morales on there, of course, you know, you've got the enhancements with the DualShock.
All right, nobody cares. Get on to Bugsnax.
I was going to say, this is the one that I was interested in.
Get on to Bugsnax. That's the one people care about,
Bugsnax. So, funny enough.
Whoa, this is weird.
Yeah, on the PS5, out of 66 ratings, it's got an 8.9 user score and a 73 on Metacritic out of 17.
Wow, yeah, that's super weird. Yeah, like,
and it's actually got a higher score on PlayStation 4.
It's the opposite. Yeah, it's the opposite. It's got an 80 on PlayStation 4 and a 73 on PlayStation. That's so weird. I wonder if it's just they didn't optimize enough.
Well, it's supposed to be optimized for PS5. That's what is weird.
Yeah, that's my point. But also, there is 10 less people on that, so that's weird. That's super weird, huh?
But
I feel like that's an anomaly because
honestly,
so far have they been,
especially because this is a PlayStation Plus free game. Either way, looking at these reviews, I think is showing, hey, play it, just play it,
just
like
fucking
it's a good
play
game.
it. Jesus Christ, get off your ass and do something good with your life.
You fucking heathens. So this one is one that I didn't know actually was coming out already.
Does this exist?
Does this exist? So this is Godfall, which, Dick, I feel like you know more about this because I really have not paid much attention to.
Oh God, I don't know. I don't know that much about it, other than like Gearbox is trying to be dumb and call it a hack and slash looter or a slash. Instead of a looter shooter, it's a slasher shooter. Looter. I don't know.
Can we just get rid of looter shooters, please? I'm just tired of them. I'm fucking tired of it. I don't.
Oh, looter slasher. There it is, right here. Looter slasher. You know what else that's called? A fucking RPG. Like,
yeah.
The fact that they're like trying to like come up with this new newfangled, like, it's the first of its kind looter slasher. It's like, I'm sorry, but like Diablo in general was a high octane, like, other than if they're just using a lot more of slashy type of weapons instead of
Uh,
like in, Diablo, where it is more like there's a lot of like skills and stuff, but like it's
yeah.
so fucking pretentious just to be like, oh, this is a lunar slasher. So yeah, we got let me refresh just to make sure, because I feel like I've had to refresh everything. So yeah, 63 on PlayStation 5 and 62 on PC. The reviewer scores are way worse.
Yeah, well, it looks like the PS5 might be a better version because it's got a 5.1 out of 158 ratings, whereas PC is a 4.7 out of 59. So I can't speak to this honestly of what the game is or how it plays or if it's optimized or not. I don't know because I haven't invested the time into it. But
Don't have the time.
very interesting to see kind of your most basic launch lineup as far as across all the consoles. Kind of
Basic
see where
ass
everyone's at.
bitch. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. That's it. So then next up, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about something from Kotaku. You know, those nice and chipper people who only put out articles of absolute importance. Okay? These are people of pristine. No, I'm totally kidding. They're pieces of shit, and we will talk about that after this music break. Whew. Yeah. How's it going, guys? So, Kotaku, the most reputable publication about video games on the internet, right? I feel like that's a apt description of said company, right?
I feel
Nothing
like
else wrong with this company. No, I'm totally fucking joking. I mean, after Jason Schreier went to fucking Bloomberg, is this the downhill slump that they're going to be going into? So you might be like, Nick, listen, Nick. What are you talking about? All right. I bring your attention to the PlayStation 5 review on Kotaku. Now, this isn't just a PlayStation 5 review. It's PlayStation 5, the Kotaku review. Okay? We're going to slowly scroll down, see some of like the headline things, talking about prices, okay, the specs, however, Cutie with the booty. Wow. Why are they talking about that? Jeez, no, I'm just kidding. It's because it's hefty. So, the PlayStation 5 interface is the product. Okay. Cool. Nothing like suspect yet, right? Can't quit you. Oh, good. He can't quit it. He's having so much fun with. Oh, by the way, who is the author to this? The author
Ian
is an
something.
Ian Walker. So, spoiler alert. Fuck you, Ian. Cutie with the booty. We got past that. PlayStation 5 interface is the product. I can't quit you. So yeah, he's having fun with that, right? That PlayStation 5 SSD. So now we're getting into like the loading times. That's cool. He even has, wow, he even went through the loading times of PlayStation 4 versus PlayStation 5. He's doing his job, right? He's doing a real good job, I would say. Oh God, it's the frame rate section. So now he's talking about frame rates and okay, cool. Once more with feeling. All right, nothing's too suspect yet. Nothing's sticking out if you read through this. But wait, but does it really matter? This review has spent 3,000 words talking about the PlayStation 5, which is the most I've which is the most I've written about anything. It's a good, or it's as good a video game console and there has ever been. It's as good a video game console as there has ever been. Do they have editors? That just doesn't sound right. The combination of ultra high definition video, increased frame rates, high end graphics techniques like blah blah blah, yippity dippity dippity. The PlayStation 5 reliably runs a vast majority of PlayStation 4 library, with many of those receiving upgrades to fidelity, framework, and loading times. But I would be remiss to ignore all the reasons not to be excited for PlayStation 5. The world is still reeling under the weight of the COVID-19 pandemic. There are more Americans out of work right now than at any point in the country's history. With no relief in sight, our healthcare system is an inherently evil institution that forces people to ration life-saving medications like insulin and choose suicide over suffering with untreated mental illness. As I'm writing this, it looks like very likely Joe Biden will be our next president. But it's clear that the worst people aren't going away just because a new old white man is sitting behind a resolute desk. Fuck off, Ian! I'm good now.
It's just I am at a legitimate shock because before coming into this, Nick was like, "Oh man, this is going to be very yeah, there's a cat there." He was like, "Check out this Kotaku review." I was like, "Oh god, what did they do now?" And I'm like, it's formatted very well. Like the whole article itself is put together very well. And he goes, scroll down to the bottom, and I'm reading it, and I just immediately go, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to remind you, this isn't
just some like writer on
review.
Kotaku's opinion. This is their front page review.
This is fucking PlayStation 5's review. Just as a reminder. Go on. Sorry.
So here's the thing with all this. Nowadays, and like they've always been, video games have been an escape. Video games really live in their own kind of world. You know, the gaming industry, gaming developers, gamers themselves, like they're unified in terms of like there's not a lot of shared feature there. So anyway, it's an escape overall. So in my opinion, sites like Kotaku, sites like IGN, sites like every other place that is reviewing these consoles, reviewing video games, it's your job to review the game.
Yeah.
Not let us know how shitty everything is.
Yeah.
We fucking know how shitty it is. So don't take the escape away from us because you want to make sure people know, hey, this is something you should be excited about, but you really shouldn't because you should be more worried about what the fuck is going on and that people are dying. So you should feel guilty as hell for spending $500 on a piece of plastic video game console. Go fuck yourself. That's not your job. Your job is to review this console and let me know if it's good or not. Your job is not to tell me this and say, hey, you should feel bad. Whether that was your intention or not, your words it made me kind of feel bad for wanting a PS5. Like, don't tell me people are considering suicide instead of treating with mental illness. People can't get their life set. Like, fuck off, dude. This is a clear indication of there is just, if not, it's an issue with leadership, and it might not be an issue. This might be what Kotaku wants. They want a free and open platform. But if I'm an editor there, or if I'm someone high above there, like I'd be like, well, why is this in a PlayStation 5 review? Like, it doesn't seem like they care. It's like, hey, if you put this in there, that's fine. Like, and the fact that it's a front page review is what's even more infuriating. It's like, dude, get off your fucking high horse. These are the type of people that like the echo chamber kind of people that I need a drink.
Listen to this part. I won't deny that video games can be an escape. It feels great to lose yourself in a fictional world where you can fix everything. Some of us see a strength or personality trait in the video game characters we wish we saw in ourselves. As much as it sucks for the real world problems to intrude on that space, I've found it increasingly difficult to focus on video games amid our current situation. Get a new fucking job, Ian! Get a new fucking job, okay?
Yeah, and here, Spider-Man Miles Morales is a good example. If I had the money, I would buy a PS5 right now. And Spider-Man Miles Morales is a world I would want to fucking live in. Like, I almost played Spider-Man today because, like, I was like, You're probably in the same boat I am, where it's like I'm in like a game hole almost, where it's like I don't want to play or restart something when I can restart it on the PS5. But like games like Watch Dogs 2, or like I said before, Miles Morales, you're giving me an excuse for 8 to 10 hours or even longer to get lost in this fictional New York world where I'm fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm Spider-Man. I get to swing around. I get to live in a better world than I do right now. And that gives me some kind of, it's fake hope, sure, but it's still something. It makes the serotonin in my brain go a little happier instead of being all sad and depressy. So why take that away from me? What is your, like, I understand your thought process, your goal of wanting to inform people, but it's like, no.
There's a time and a place, plain and simple. There is a time and a place to make your argument about why an old white guy or a new old white guy in the Resolute desk is a bad thing. There are times and places to make that argument, but during a PlayStation 5 review, like, why did this even need to be brought up? It didn't. Plain and simple. It didn't need to be brought up. And the fact that he did bring it up is just him getting on his soapbox and using the platform that he has.
Yep. 100%.
You know, because Kotaku, for some reason, a lot of people read. And people are super excited about the PlayStation 5. And once again, I think the worst part about this is exactly what you were talking about. He goes through the entire thing talking about all the really awesome stuff, all the interesting stuff, all the maybe things you should have to worry about. And overall, it seems like a good review. And it makes you want to buy the console, right? Or it should make you want to buy the console, right? Mm-hmm. And then he just hits you over the head with this bullshit, making you feel guilty. Like I said, that's the worst fucking part, is that he's using this as a way to almost make us feel bad to want to escape the fucking world. Like,
and they're not the only ones either. So, and I'll send you the link to this, but going back to Miles Morales, you saw the image going around with that Black Lives Matter mural, right?
Yeah.
So we were talking about that today, me and my wife, and I was like, this is really cool. And that I was like, I saw this on my feed and I wanted to show it to her. And when I looked it up, there were other places like Time and Time is actually the main article I came across that was like, Spider-Man Miles Morales could have tackled police reform head on. Instead, the cops are almost entirely gone. It's like, are we missing the point here? Like, games can be political and have something to say. And when it's not discussed and not talked about, it's great when it happens. I love being surprised by a story that's trying to tell me a message that I didn't know was coming, because that makes it impactful. So for you to say, hey, we should expect this, like, hey, they could have done this and they're kind of shitty for not doing it. It's like, that's where I'm like, get your politics out of my video games, dude. Like, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I've always been, for the most part, I've always been kind of in the center. Like, I don't like going too far to one side or too far to the other side. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is what's wrong with liberals. This is what's wrong with the far left, or if you go too far left, this is what's wrong with it. You have purple states, for instance, and like, okay, just as an example, 72 million people still voted for Donald Trump. And it's shit like this that made them fucking do it. Okay? Because it's shit like this that just takes it too far. Okay? Because once again, we do know the world is shitty. We do know that, for the most part, healthcare sucks. Mental health sucks. Suicide sucks. We fucking know this. But to shove it in our face like this is completely unnecessary. And this is why people hate liberals. Okay? When you have, I'm going to use an analogy I heard from somebody else, but when you have a cracker box, what's it called? You know, with the caramel corn and the crackle jack?
Oh, Cracker Jack.
Cracker Jack. When you have the Cracker Jack and instead of peanuts, it's pieces of shit. And when you give that to the country and the country is, or part of the country is picking out the popcorn and eating the shit, you have to start questioning, What's wrong with the popcorn that people would prefer the shit?
That okay. that went somewhere I wasn't expecting, but
Right.
but
It's shit like this that an average everyday person. Now there's probably plenty of people who are like, "Woo! Yeah! Say your piece, man. Say your truth." But I guarantee there's plenty more people that were just like, "Get over yourself. This is not what I came here for." Just like us.
and you notice that there's not any reviews on the article, and I wish that there were comments down below, but I think they're smart for getting rid of. Wait, is there? Let me see. Oh, okay, there was one from the 6th. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Is there more? Oh, yes, there's 10 replies, Nick. Oh my god. Okay, let's see if we're alone in this. Show replies. Okay. Okay, so yeah, someone highlighted this and said incredibly poignant, and it was the article or the paragraph that said Sony and Microsoft chose a hell of a time to release their next generation consoles. That whole thing, and someone, the way it goes is absurd addition to this review. Are we going to mention ongoing tragedies in every review of luxury items and consumer products? Here's an RTX 3080, but let's reflect on the pandemic that has killed 240,000 Americans. You probably should feel bad for buying this.
I like Deco94's response. That's why I got mine. My black ass could end up unemployed and dead whenever, so why not enjoy it?
There's another one. There's some that are pending approval, which I find interesting. Or one that's like, why are you asking me what I why are you asking me what I want to eat when Black Lives Matter is still marching? What kind of drive-thru is this, Nazi McDonald's?
God.
Oh yeah, and then someone. I mean, so we're not alone in this, and that makes me feel good. I think this is a good one from I don't know how the fuck to say that. I guess we should all never play video games again because somewhere around the world there's people fighting wars, dying of famine, hurricanes, tornadoes, massive earthquakes, wildfires. The list of endless and constant, and it's all extremely sad. But why the hell is that the conclusion of a PS5 review? Unequivocally, the worst review I've ever read on Kotaku, and that one's pending approval as well. So it's probably going to get denied.
Well, it's weird that how can we see it if it's pending approval?
Well, I think that's a free speech thing. So basically, like it's put on there, but it's pending. I think the either commenter or whoever is in charge of that article can say whether they want that comment to stay on there. I don't fucking know, man. It's Kotaku. I don't care to know, but I'm just glad to know that we're not the only ones that are in this same boat to let Kotaku know to go fuck themselves.
Oh my god. Yeah. The Dunks88 says that reply is fire. I think he was talking about the one with the black ass.
Probably, yeah.
Oh my god. Seriously, just fuck off Kotaku. Because here's the thing. Even if it was Ian who put out this article, somebody at Kotaku said that was okay. Somebody at Kotaku decided that last part shouldn't have been in there. Because the thing is, once again, if you read through the entire thing, it's very informative. And there was even that table where he went through the loading times of the PlayStation 4 version and the PlayStation 5 version. So it was very in-depth. And then just right at the end, it's like getting 5 feet away from the freaking finish line and then tripping on nothing.
Yeah.
And you just fall on your face and lose the entire race. It's so fucking stupid. So, yay, Kotaku! I mean, finally something we can hate more than 2020 itself.
That's a good point.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, Kotaku. Just get the fuck over yourself. Next up, what the fuck are we talking about next?
Well, we're actually talking about PS5 and
PS5
Xbox.
Versus Xbox.
Without the politics.
We're gonna talk about that next. So stay tuned for that. All right.
Well, we live in a cool ass vibe, so I mean that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
That's deep, man. That's deep. Speaking of deep, how's your mom? Hey-o!
Oh, go fuck yourself like a taku. Hey-oh.
Heyo. All right, so the last breakaway of the day is going to be the PlayStation versus Xbox. Forget. All right. So heads or tails?
Tails.
Okay.
I'm an ass man.
We'll start with Xbox, even though it's technically 3. So this is interesting from the standpoint of, obviously we have 2 SKUs of Xbox, and even though there are technically 2 SKUs for PlayStation, they don't have a different review for them because it's essentially the same box, only no disk drive. So
Correct.
it's funny because we do have a score difference between the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, and that is 8 for the X, 7 for the S. So they're clearly giving it a lower review because it has a lower performance, essentially.
Yeah, and there's reasons why, I think, but the thing I'll say out the top, and we were talking about it before we jump back on, I do find it weird to give a scored review to consoles. I don't remember them doing that, at least with the Xbox One and PS4 generation. And the only ones I've really seen do that have been IGN. So as far as I know, I think they're alone in that. But it is informative, and I'm not saying that the reviews that they did for the consoles are bad by any means, but it seems odd, because I don't think seeing a score for a console is going to determine whether or not I'm going to pick it up or not, if that makes sense. But
hey, do me a favor.
What's that?
Try going at your microphone at a different angle.
How about that?
No.
Hold on. I'm going to mute so I don't. Give me a sec. Is that better?
Holy shit! That's way better. Did you have it angled the wrong fucking way?
I think I had it turned around the entire time. Yeah.
I just happened to notice that because I noticed that you gotten a lot closer to your mic, but so here's me far away from it, and then here's me closer. So when you got closer and I noticed that it didn't change the sound of your voice, I'm like, hold on a second.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with my studio mics, is because they're like, I never really know which side's up front. So
you gotta get a white marker and just
exactly.
Mark in front of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need to do. But
oh my god, that's funny.
Now, for the Xbox, like I said, the Series S getting a lower score makes total sense because reasonably so, it's a lesser console, and they did that on purpose to give you. Well, no. They, I think a good comparison, especially if they're wanting to do this like cell phones, Microsoft is like Samsung, PlayStation's like Apple. Samsung, at least with their most recent phones, have literally given you a phone at almost every price point. So no matter how much you can afford, you can get a good phone.
Yeah.
That pro-consumer move is kind of what they're doing with the Series S and Series X. But with that comes some downsides, primarily being that the Series S, you are either going to need that to be a dedicated streaming game box instead of downloads, or just buy an expandable hard drive, because this fucking thing has like 300 and something gigs of usable storage.
Oh yeah, that's like nothing.
That's a big negative right off the bat.
That's like 2 Call of Duties.
Exactly. Yeah, actually technically it's 2.5 if we want to get specific with it.
No, that's a good point.
And also, of course, that it's not as powerful as the Series X, so it's not going to go native 4K. It's 1440p.
Mm-hmm.
There are things about it that make it lesser, but that doesn't make it a bad console.
True. True. So I mean, the main concerns, I do believe, is the size of the storage. The size itself obviously is really good. Like this video is showing off a really good example of it.
That's such a sexy looking box to put in a display.
Yeah,
like that's something you can easily just put on a desk, and that would take no room whatsoever. So that's the form factor of that console is phenomenal. Like they really did a good job engineering that.
Yeah, for sure. And then if you go to the Series X, then we're talking about it's an 8. So now we're talking more about, okay, here's the true version of it. If anything, the Series X, like, I guess I get where they're coming from. They wanted to have a cheaper version just to get people's foot in the door. I think that was the main concern, right? Is getting
Yeah.
people's foot in the door. But at the same time, it's like the X is obviously where it's at. You might as well, I don't know.
X gonna give it to you.
He is going to give it to you. Then we go to the PlayStation, and if we look at its score, it's also an 8, right? Let me go all the way down to... Where is it? There it is, 8. Right there. Now, hold on.
I think it'd be good to also cover the verdicts for each to kind of have them give their ballpark, like, what they exactly think on it.
Okay, now hold on. Let's read the verdict for each console, okay? Let me find it on the Xbox. Verdict. Okay, verdict for the Xbox Series X. We're just going to skip the S because it's just a little less powerful. I mean, that's going to be the main thing. We can only assume that the Xbox Series X will wow us when the new and spectacular next generation games eventually, because there isn't much to judge it or to judge it on right now. But in the meantime, I'm. You know what? You start it.
Okay, I'll read. But in the meantime, no matter what current games you throw at it, your loading times will be drastically cut, your frame rates will be smoother, and your resolutions will be higher. This bold and minimalistically designed box is quiet, compact for both the power it packs and especially how it compares to the PS5.
Fuck you.
Capable and loaded with the convenience features like instantly resuming and cycling between any other recently played game. Compared directly to the PlayStation 5 specs, it flat out gives you more power for the same price. It's going to be a joy to see what developers actually do with this in the coming years.
Mm-hmm. So I highlighted, I think, one of the biggest difference. Other than, it has more power or whatever, that's obvious. But right here I highlight resuming and recycling between any of the recently played games. I feel like that's one thing that sticks out for me, because I've read several reviews. But that's the one thing that sticks out as the difference between PlayStation
and
5
PS5
and
doesn't have
Xbox.
quick resume, do they?
They don't.
Okay.
All right. So then with the verdict of the PlayStation, let's see if I can read all of a sudden. With a launch lineup dominated by games that are also available on PlayStation 4 and on the back of a generation already punctuated. Shut up. With the
water is
with okay, that was a tricky one. Incrementally more powerful hardware revisions like the PlayStation Pro. The PlayStation 5 doesn't quite land as a knockout punch yet, but it definitely got the power and speed to be a real contender, although the jury's still out on the stamina of that tiny 600 SSD. However, while the PlayStation 5's well-considered UI and blisteringly quick loading times for the PlayStation 5 games make it a pleasure to use, its DualSense controller, it's the DualSense controller that's proven to be the surprise haymaker I never saw coming. It truly leaves other controllers feeling primitive in comparison. And that right there is what I'll highlight for the PlayStation. Because quick loading times, that's something we can expect all around. Better stuff. I'd also like to say that, the dominated by games that are also on the PlayStation 4, I don't know. That seems weird to bring up because fucking of course. Like, I don't know. But I would like to also point out that that there are more exclusives. Whether that be an exclusive that happens to also be on the PlayStation 4, I think is irrelevant because there are so many more exclusives at launch for the PlayStation than there is the Xbox. So I feel like that should be a point in its favor, not something that you protest about just because. Now, hold on. Is that the end of the review? Is that it?
Yeah.
That's it? But I need to know about COVID. What's going on with
Oh,
COVID? Should
fuck,
I
I
be
forgot
worried?
that.
Do
Wow.
I
Yeah,
need
I
to
don't
wear a
know.
mask? I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know. What about Biden? Is he going to become president? Nate, I don't know if I should be
I know.
worried or
Yeah, I
not.
know. I really don't know. Without the insight of how terrible the world is by writers like Ian, I really don't know what's going on.
This review sucks. 0 out of 0 for this review.
So, if we think back to the discussions that we had earlier this year about PlayStation and Xbox for this new generation, I basically called a lot of this. And it's kind of funny when you look at the review scores that they've given IGN have for the Series X and the 5 and the PS5. They're both 8s,
Yeah.
but they're 8s for different reasons.
Yeah.
So with the X, the thing that they're relying on at this moment, because unfortunately Halo is kind of a shit show and they don't have anything that's right up in the front. The X is getting so well reviewed because quick resume is a stellar feature that a lot of people love.
Yeah.
I don't personally have a use for it, honestly, just because I don't play multiple games like within seconds of each other. Like I'm fine
I think
with
one of the big things though is being able to turn your console off and then resume. Like Valhalla, a good example. Being able to turn off your console, completely turn it, not rest mode, but completely turn off the console, come back in, and you get right back into it. I think that's the switching between games, I'll agree, is something that I wouldn't normally do, but like
but
the
maybe
PSP,
if I have that functionality,
yeah, exactly.
would.
The PSP, the PS Vita, being able to turn those devices off and then get back into my game within seconds, rather than here's the loading screen, here's the logos, things like that.
Yeah, and like I said, what they're relying on at this moment is the power. Saying yes, technically the Series X is more powerful than the PS5. And what's really great about Xbox, of course, is going to be Games Pass. Or damn it, Andrea, Game Pass, and all the other features that they're showing off. Whereas with the PlayStation 5, what its biggest selling point is, at least from our opinion as well as opinion of most reviewers here, is its brand new technology with the DualSense and how PlayStation is pretty much going to lead in terms of new technology. That's where I think it's going to get its upper hand. Now, to defend the reviewer here as far as that first part with the launch lineup, I do get where they're kind of coming from, because basically what they're saying is there's not one specific game that's like, oh, I have to buy a PS5 for this. And
I get where they're coming from, but the point I'm pointing out is that yes, a lot of them are on the PlayStation 4 and on the PlayStation 5, but there's a lot of them that aren't on the Xbox One, and so that was the point I'm pointing out.
Yeah.
So to make that part of your review just seems like a low blow for no fucking reason,
I can see the scores being a little lower at launch because, while this is the next generation, I think that this is a different one. And some people have talked about this prior, but one of the main things that I've noticed from the PS3 to the PS4 and, of course, 360 to one was a generational leap. Absolutely. Because you went from the low res to basically now true, almost, 1080p as always, kind of games. And they just looked a lot better. Whereas, yes, there is a graphical difference in terms of ray tracing, but the thing that's the biggest upgrade in this next generation is the ease of use and just simplicity, or quality of life improvements they made. Load times, everything being significantly faster, and I'm noticing that still on my PlayStation, on my 4 and on my Pro. When I'm playing something and it chugs or takes forever, it's like, I know I won't have to deal with this come the PS5. So if to most people that would be considered an incremental upgrade, because it's like, well, my PS4 still works, but if I want it to work faster and look better, to a way lesser extent from the PS3 to the PS4, there's not really, apart from the hype and personal want of a need to be like, oh, I have to buy a PS5 now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. This is interesting. I just did the poll. Jesus Christ, I need sleep. When available, will you play games in 120 FPS? So the options are yes, give me all the frames, or 60 FPS is enough for me, make my games pretty. I chose make my games pretty because I mean, the human eye can only perceive 24 frames per second anyways. So at 60, it's already way above my ability to even perceive it. And so, yeah, 58.5% people say, yeah, make it pretty, and 41% say, give me all the frames. But it still is interesting
Yeah.
because that's out of 35,000 people. So it is still interesting that it's so close. I mean, not as close as the presidential election, hey-oh, but, you
To
know,
me, it depends on the game. If it's a
yeah.
shooter like
I think
Halo or
so,
Call of
yeah.
Duty, I want 120, sure, because that's needed, like to
That's a good
be
point, yeah.
more twitchy. But I don't need Miles Morales to be in 120 frames per second, and that's the other problem with next gen that we didn't really think about until right when the consoles were coming out. Is it's still really expensive to buy a lot of this shit. There's not a lot of TVs that support 120 hertz or 120 frames.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of
now they're already
TVs.
talking about fucking 8K. It's like, shut up.
Yeah. There's not a lot of TVs that support HDMI 2.1, which is what they're running. So you have to be, and for everyone who's wanting to buy these consoles, check tech reviewers Black Friday tips. They are going to, like Austin Evans, because he did a video about having to try to find a TV that did everything to get a true next gen experience. Look out for those lists because they're not easy to come by. So it's kind of a barrier to entry to get the full experience of all this anyway. But let's also talk about, and I'm pretty sure you're in the same boat I am when it comes to next gen.
But don't rock the boat.
It's always a new console coming out that reminds me of how poor I typically am.
No shit.
Because I'm in so many like Facebook groups, and there was one guy who posted a picture. He was like, finally got my haul. And this motherfucker had on the table a PlayStation 5, Miles Morales, Sackboy, some of the, basically all of the launch exclusives,
Right.
Another controller, the headset, the camera, the whatever. And I'm like, okay. Like,
that's pretty.
all right. And then there was one that was like, me and my girlfriend got our PS5s, and they both each got one. I'm like,
fuck you,
dude,
just rubbing it in, rubbing it in. Yeah, our boy Dunks88 on Twitter put out a little video of him and his son like getting his Xbox Series X early, and I'm like, great, yeah, totally, and I'm not even jealous or anything. It's just whatever.
Yeah. So let me ask you for this coming generation, like, what are your plans like for these next 7 to 10 years? You know, are you all the way invested in one console? Are you wanting to experiment? And
I am a Sony
like,
pony through and through. I think the most I'm gonna do is get xCloud for my PC. That'll be the most I do.
Do you think there's anything that Xbox can do to bring you over to buy a console from them?
Not a single damn thing. Change their controller.
Okay.
Change your controller. Why do you look like a guy who's deformed? You're like one of those Hills Have Eyes people with your eye up in the... Hey, you guys!
Wrong movie, but yeah.
I know, but still, like your weird ass looking controller or whatever. It's like,
I mean, and I think both of us are different because I did play a lot of 360 before, and so the offset sticks is what I was used to before I got a PlayStation. Now I'm in the camp where I can play both. I've played more PS4 than anything though, because I sold.
I mean, let's be clear. I can play both. I'm not a returd.
Yeah.
Okay, I can play both. It's just that it's so stupid to have my fingers like this and like, okay, let's play a game. Like, it's just fucking weird.
Yeah. I think for me, I am definitely going to buy a PS5. That's going to be a given because I want to play Horizon. I want to play the new Spider-Man. I want to play the new God of War. Like, they have me in their ecosystem, 100%. I don't know why you're calling me on Discord.
What?
Why are you calling me on Discord?
I'm not calling you on Discord.
The Weiler is calling me on Discord.
I'm not touching my phone.
Then why are you calling me?
I don't know!
Okay.
I called you like 8 years ago.
Wow, that's late. Wow, holy shit. Anyway, my strategy is because at the beginning of this generation, I bought a PS4 and then I bought a Xbox One. Ended up getting stolen. So I did have both at one time, and I ended up selling my Xbox just because I was like, oh, I don't have anything. And this was before Game Pass came out. So if that would have stayed, That might not have been the case, but I am for sure buying a PS5 as soon as I can. What I think I will do after that is eventually get a Series S. Whether it's through the Microsoft like financing thing where it's like $15 a month, or just buy one outright if it's like $100 off for $200. Because I do like Xbox and I do miss it. And that it kind of goes back to, I think, to my nostalgia of Halo and everything else, where I do like what they put out. But I think that they did this, made the Series X for people like me, because I feel like that's a really good barrier to entry. Even at $300, I know it's not as powerful of a console, but that can be my exclusives box, and I'm totally fine with that. As far as for Xbox, so I think that it is a great combination having Game Pass with a cheaper console. So that's my strategy. I do intend on getting both so I can be apart. Maybe fuck my PC. I don't know. That thing is giving me so much problems. So,
yeah. So what's your guys' plan for the next generation? Are you going to be are you going to be a Sony pony or an Xbox Fox? See what I did there? Awesome. Or are you going to be the master race with your tiki torches on the PC?
Oh shit. Yo, that was a real bad combination there.
Consoles will not replace us.
There can be only one.
All right, so you guys make sure to go to @TX3 Productions, ThreadX3 Productions on YouTube, or threadx3productions@gmail.com to shoot us an email. All right, so that does it for this broadcast of Nerd Radio, your national nerdnet radio direct. Don't forget to join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day. 'Cause I've been thinking about what I wanna do. 'Cause I never, ever thought it through. Why y'all good winning now? I know they tell me I call you, I've been around. Wait up, zone out, been up, still good.